With Yom Kippur just several hours away, I'm sorry to announce that unfortunately I will not be joining you in Shul for Yom Kippur as a consequence of my having been exposed to an individual testing positive for COVID. In addition, Rabbi Schiffman unfortunately will also not be joining us in Shul for Yom Kippur out of an abundance of caution on advice of his physician, and hopefully he will be back in full strength and being able to join us and the community for Sukkot. I do want to share with you a brief thought regarding Yom Kippur, and that is that just 10 days ago on Rosh Hashanah, the Talmud tells us that individuals who are tzaddikim, their fate was sealed on that day, l'chaim, and individuals who were judged to be rishayim, their fate was also sealed on Rosh Hashanah, unfortunately, l'maves. The people in the middle, the Beinonim, those individuals, well, that Yom Kippur, tomorrow, that's the day that God will seal their judgment. And it is our tradition that we consider most of us to be Beinonim. What is a tzaddik, what is a rasha, and what is a Beinoni? Rav Hutner suggests that these identities should not be necessarily understood as quantitative measures of how much you've done over the past year. A tzaddik isn't necessarily somebody who has more mitzvahs than averos, and a rasha isn't necessarily an individual who has more averos than mitzvos in his ledger or her ledger. Rather, it's about identity and commitment. A tzaddik is an individual that despite the number of averos or mitzvos that they have done, they have an overall identity and an overall sense of commitment as to where they want to be and what they want to do. They try their best to meet those goals, and if they falter, they falter. But that's not who they are. That is just an expression of the job that they're doing, meeting the overall goal. A rasha is similarly somebody who may not necessarily have more demerits on their list, on their ledger, than merits. They might have more mitzvahs than averos on the list. But a rasha is somebody whose overall trajectory, overall commitments, overall identity puts them with a life's goals of meeting areas of negativity, of toxicity, of detriment to avodas Hashem, and as a consequence, they are deemed to be rishayim. So, what is a Beinoni? A Beinoni is somebody whose commitments are somewhat fluid, who maybe is nishtahin, nishtaher. Their commitments may change from day to day. They're not a rasha for sure, and they're not a tzaddik for sure. But a Beinoni is somebody whose commitments need to be clarified and crystallized. And for such an individual, well, that's tomorrow. Yom Kippur, that's the day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a 10-day reprieve to be able to put our commitments in order. So Be'ezras Hashem, on this Yom Kippur, we should reflect and contemplate about ourselves, about how we define ourselves, and what we want from our lives, and what our overall commitments are. We do the best we can to meet our commitments, but at least our commitments should overall be for Torah, Avoda, and Yiras Shamayim. And with that in mind, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu assist us on that journey such that we are able to bring down the blessings of a year of good health, simcha, and joy, nachas for us all. Have a Gemar Chasima Tova and a good Yantiv to all.